Hello, and welcome back to another Minecraft Let's Play video with me, Elven Dragon, here on Feed the Beast Skies 2 on Shadowlands SMP. So, last episode we went and started getting into a little bit of occultism and made ourselves a soul gem to capture mobs. And apparently we've got a llama behind us now. Anyway, we proceeded to use that soul gem to go and capture ourselves a warden, get ourselves some skulk so we can make some end portal frames. And since then, we've gone and gathered enough wither skeleton skulls to go and get all the nether stars that we are going to need for that. So let's head on out of here and to the area I've got set up for fighting withers. So up on the hill, we have this big black box we can use to summon our withers. So we just have to put this in there, put our skulls on, and they will be completely trapped inside that case. And we can just go in, we can smack them with our sword, and it should be fairly easy. Looks like it won't even blow up the outside area there. So, it just gives us a nice, safe way of getting our nether stars, and there we go. That should be good. We'll have to do this another 2 times in order to get all the end portals that we need. But with how noisy this thing is, we're only going to go after the one for right now. So, there we go. There's our little kill. We have our star already picked up. I love having that magnet. But today, I think what we're going to do is we are going to go and try and get the last piece of these end portal frames that we need, which is this ether. So we need 6 pieces of ether. Looks like we can craft them 2 at a time from the spirit infusion, the spirit altar. And we need refined soulstone, which requires raw soulstone, which looks like we can get from this structure called the Weeping Well. So I grabbed some raw iron in order to toss into the well, because it looks like that's what we need to get the raw soulstone. And we've got our compass here set to go find it. So I'm going to go fly out there, see what we can get, and I'll be back once we're actually at the well. Alright, so here we are at the well. So if I'm not mistaken, we just toss that in and it'll toss the thing back. Ugh, okay. What if we can toss multiple in if it's going to give us multiple? If not, we'll have to come back here. I don't see why it wouldn't, but you never know. That definitely looks like it is, because it is spraying out a whole bunch there. So, looks like we're going to get multiple there. Looks like it's only doing them 1 at a time anyway. But it's not too bad. But that should be enough soulstone for us to get what we need. I don't think we can transport this back. Hope we don't need anything else from here. But oh, now we know where it is. We can come back here a little bit easier next time if we need to. And it's actually not that far from where we've been. But let's head back home and get this stuff smelted up. Alright, so a little bit of smelting later, and we've got everything that we need. Not quite sure what we're going to do with our stuff, but we've got these runewood planks that we need for the spirit altar. Don't think we need anything else with that. And we have stuff for this crude scythe, if I actually get my sticks out. Can never seem to have enough inventory space to craft stuff when you need it. So I'm not quite sure where we're going to stick this. Probably somewhere up here. I want to figure out some sort of building for it so that we can actually do something with that. Since I'm kind of trying to make sure that all of our stuff is decorated as we go along. Is that something we actually have to do with that? Alright. Spirit Oils, place to channel spirit aspects and other infusion resources into a focal item. Serves to hold this focus and anchor the spirits used on it, while any other focus materials must be placed on pedestals. So it also seems like we need runewood obelisks as well. That looks like it could be to speed things up. Let's see how hard those are going to be to make. Okay, so it looks like we need to use the altar in order to make them, so we definitely don't need that to make this thing work. Alright, so looking back over everything, and if I'm reading it right, that means that we need to put these item pedestals down. That will allow us to place items down. Looks like we need a few more runewood planks, so we might have to chop down these trees. These are actually really pretty trees, so that shouldn't be too bad to get. I might replant a few of these around the island, because I do like how those leaves look. But we're also going to need a bunch of spirits for this as well. Looks like we need a few of them in order to get this blazing quartz. So I'm going to have to go figure out a way to get those. Looks like we need at least 3 of our pedestals here. So we've got 2. blazing gold, we need the spirit crucible, apparently. So it looks like we're going to have to do a whole bunch of stuff. We need wicked spirit, arcane spirit. Looks like we need a lot of different spirits here. Okay. Well, I guess we can go try out this crude scythe. That seems to be the way we're supposed to get spirits. Let's try our wild and spawner here. And also try our wither skellies as well. Turn off our little mob grinder for that. And hopefully we can get some good spirits from this. So I'm going to go gather a few of those up and then I'll be right back. All right, so that actually produced a lot more of these spirits than I was thinking it would. So we just need to go and put a few of our things on there. Apparently it'll just take all of them. That's fine, but we should just be able to put our cobblestone on there and that should start crafting. Guess it did say it was a little slow. So but maybe we're doing something wrong? I don't know. It doesn't seem like there's anything in the book. Let's try using our pouch of time to speed that up a little bit. So there we go. Now we're at 64 times speed. It doesn't seem like anything's changing. So I think we might be doing something wrong here. So we'll check the quest book again and see what we can find. Maybe there's something that has the book for this mod that should hopefully explain what we were actually supposed to do with this spirit altar. All right, Encyclopedia Arcana. Let's see, where is the thing for spirit crystals? I really like this book. I like how the text kind of highlights as you scroll over it. It's rune wood, spirit infusion. All right, this should be what we want. All right, so there's the thing. Okay, this is what we want. Use the altar, I must lay the item I wish to infuse on top of it, along with an appropriate set of arcana. If I wish to fuse other items in the process, I must place them on some sort of wood item holder. Okay, must be within 4 blocks. It's pretty standard for rituals like this. Alright, so apparently these don't go on the pedestals. Okay, so apparently we have to place them on the altar itself, and that will infuse the item. Okay, so we didn't actually need all these pedestals, apparently. But that's kind of an interesting crafting animation there, where it kind of looks like it's got beams going into the stone. Kind of like that. So let's look at the rest of the ones that we need. So that got us Tainted Rock. So we need Sacred and Arcane with another set of cobblestone in order to get the other type, since that's in the quest book, and we are definitely going to need that for the Spirit Crucible. Spirit Crucible here needs Hex Ash, Aqueous, and Infernal. Hex Ash, we need 2 gunpowder, which we should have plenty of. So I did go ahead and separate out the stuff that we were going to need for our ether. So we can easily get that once we get the rest of our crafting bases here set up. So let's grab that sacred out. I think we just need that, and that should get us everything we need for our Spirit Crucible, except for a furnace. I completely missed that we needed a furnace when we looked through that earlier. Alright, so this isn't too bad to do. Kind of like this. I think we can speed it up a little bit. And that's just going to take the items. It's kind of cool. Animations are really nice. So we'll go ahead and stick that down there. Really, all of this work is to get our blazing quartz for the ether. We have everything else except for the blazing quartz. I would get the pedestals to help speed this up, except we don't really seem to need it. It's not going that slow, and we always have our temporal pouch with plenty of time in it. It doesn't seem to use a whole lot whenever we use it. So we might get the obelisks at some point, but I think for now, we should be good without them. If I'm not mistaken, we're also missing one of the essences that we need to get it, which is Aerial, which I'm willing to bet we get from phantoms, except we haven't seen a single phantom around here. So we'll have to possibly find another way to get that. But I'm going to go and collect up everything we need to make that blazing quartz, and then I'll be right back. All right, so I think we have just about everything. So we just need to make this blazing quartz. So I think if we put those above, we put our impetus in, that should get us the quartz. Then we just need to put in those 2 spirits into the altar here with our glowstone and the blazing quartz. So, just gonna take those out. Just need 3 blazing quartz, arcane spirit, and we'll just speed that up a little bit just to make it a little faster. So that gets us 2, 4, and 6 ether, which, if I'm not mistaken, should be everything we need to make our end portal frames. So let's get the rest of our stuff out of our backpack here. And there we go. So now we just have to go and put those down at our sign. Can't forget that these things are directional. I think that should be good enough and far enough from our pathway here. And then we just have to get a bunch of ender pearls and make up our eyes of ender, which I don't think I have enough of. So we're gonna have to go and gather those. I've got 2 eyes of ender right now that we can put inside. I'm gonna take out that sign before we completely forget. Get extra marks of mastery. I'm gonna have to figure out some place to store all those essences. Seems like there's a jar and you can use them to place lights too, which sounds kind of interesting. So I definitely want to play around a little bit more with what we can do with this mod. Definitely seems like an interesting little magic mod that we can mess with. So get our ender pearls out right now. Looks like we need a little bit more blaze powder. We should be able to get plenty of that from our bees. But I think that we're basically just going to go off and find a warp forest in the nether. I think we actually have one of the villages that's in one. So we should be able to get the rest of the ender pearls fairly quickly as well. But I'm going to go off and grab those, and then I'll be right back. All right. So with that, we now have enough eyes to open this thing. And there we go. End portal is now open. So we can now go explore that. Get our draconic bees, hopefully. I think we need some dragon's breath for that. So I'm going to have to get a few things before we actually hop in there. But I think that is probably going to be about it for today. So I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you want to see more of what is going on this island. And I will catch you all in the next one. Goodbye.